Uh, this is super exciting. I'm so pumped that just that we're all here, that the community's here, the dev team's here, and the announcement's out. We had a Twitter space a couple days ago from the Avaverse account, which was our first one on that account. Now this is our first Battlebound one. Um, but yeah, it's like, oh man, it's so cool to actually have this partnership and fundraise public. It's like we've been working on this for so long. And to be able to come forward with the team and our experience and what we're doing and what we want to build and share Project A with you and also the Avaverse and be able to talk about how this all fits together and what it means for Battlebound, what it means for the Avaverse community and what's coming up. And so, yeah, like I just want to have this space and just jam out on like everything that we're just so passionate and excited about. So for everyone that's new, I'll introduce myself. I am DAMOS, or Adam on the website. I'm the founder and CEO of Battlebound and the Avaverse, and I've been working on this product for over, or at least a year now. And so it's amazing to have everything come to fruition. In my experience, I was been making games for like 10 years. I spent the last 4 years at Riot before I left to start Battlebound. I was a developer on League of Legends, and I helped. I'm sure there's some League of Legends players here, but I helped build like the elemental map transitions for Summoner's Rift. Did a bunch of work on champions and skins from like the shader and material side and supporting those teams. And then I did a lot of work on like the original Teamfight Tactics team to build out like the item boxes and the placement grid and like the sort of the pipeline for like the map skins and how we think about Little Legends. And so joining me is also some of my good friends and co-developers, which have also come from Riot Games. And so what I'd like to do is just kind of give everyone a chance to kind of introduce themselves and get a little bit about their background. We have also some of our Discord team here as well. And so I'll just kick it on down the line over to Kura to give a little bit of background and take it from here. And then we'll jump into all the meaty stuff.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Adam. So my name is Kurazav, and I'm a Discord manager on Battlebound Discord server. I've been here since the beginning, and yeah, I've been an avid gamer since I was a little kid, and I love games. I love playing games, and in the same time, I got into crypto space, and back in 2017, I guess. And then later in 2021, I joined the NFT space, and yeah, I found out about Avaverse, which actually had some really cool characters in the game. Also had a real game which I could play straight away, and I fell in love with it. Since then, I've been active on the Discord. I've been helping the community out, and from a community member, I ended up being a Discord manager for the Discord. And yeah, I love it. I love helping Avaverse, Battlebound, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what's coming next, and I'm really excited about this.
Awesome. Thanks, Cora. Yeah, I love having you in the community, man. And all right, I'll kick it over to Breezy for an introduction. I'm just kind of going in order from the faces that I see here.
Yeah, it's similar to Cora. I've been here since the start. I'm also a Discord manager. Excited for the future. And yeah, not too much exciting stuff to say about me. Also an avid gamer, and that's what brought me to Eververse and now Battlebound, and that's where I currently am at.
Awesome. Yeah, pumped that you're here as well, Breezy. We love all the work that you guys do for our community, and it's grown so much just in the past few days. It's going to continue to grow, and so yeah, it's just super exciting. But all right, Mayu, I'll let you go ahead. You're up here as well.
Yeah, hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm Mayu. I haven't been here from the beginning. I joined Battlebound a couple months ago. I have been in the games industry for about 15 years. I've worked on mobile games, AAA games, PC games, console games. I've worked for Rovio, the Angry Birds guys, Ubisoft the past 3 years, EA, DICE. So I've been around. I always like to challenge myself, and I really wanted to get back to a smaller team in a new space that was a bit unfamiliar to me. So that's the crypto gaming space, and ready to just blast full speed ahead with this awesome team. I wanted to, be with a team, with a company where we can really build that connection to the community, which is super important to everyone on the team. And yeah, I'm the senior game designer on the team, so I'm really, pushing for all the new features, all the cool gameplay that we have and that we have planned for you guys, and really looking forward to interacting with the community, getting feedback, and really creating the games that you guys want to play. So happy to be here and excited to do this Twitter space.
Yeah, thanks, Mayu. I mean, you joined, I guess, maybe like a month ago now, and it's like, honestly, you've been such a huge value add to the Battlebound team and community, and like setting precedent standards for our game design and building out the mini games and building surveys, interacting and getting feedback from the community, and just working with you has been really, really awesome, and I'm super glad that you're on the team.
I use the secret weapon.
All right. And so we have other people from the team here. But just to like help, if you go to the website, like you can see the rest of our team. It's like we have a few other developers that joined me from Riot that have worked on some of the R&D space, Nexus Blitz, Teamfight Tactics, and also like champions and skins. And so we have a really strong team. One of our new hires actually just started today. I'm not sure if he's in the space or not, but his name's Tim, and he joins us from Overwatch 2. He just left Blizzard, and yeah, today's his first day. So we're thrilled to have him. He's got a background in industrial design, and even has done some work in theme park design from like a concept design standpoint. And so he's got a wide range of skills, and he's going to be helping us with the Avaverse visual update and building out sort of like our next generation of visuals for what the future of the Avaverse game looks like. And we've shared some concept work with that our team's done at a high level, but we're going to get drilled down there and be updating, not just the main lobby level, but the racetracks, the whole gaming experience, and leveling it up for that AAA look. And so I'll speak to a little bit more of that. But yeah, just at the high levels, like we're really pumped about the team that we've put together. And we're hiring a lot now. And so looking to expand even more as we bring on more talented and experienced game developers in the space to build awesome products for you all and awesome games. So yeah, I wanted to, I think for the structure of the space, just like cover the announcement, give a little bit more information about how we're thinking about it, talk a little bit about the Avaverse and how it's all tied together, and how we're thinking about the metaverse world that we're building and what that means for Project A, and give an update on the roadmap, and then also leave it open to another like community AMA, and like you guys can ask questions of all of us up here, and kind of just go from there. So I'm sure you probably saw, but we raised $4.8 million in our seed round led by Andreessen, and we're so excited about this. Andreessen is, if you haven't heard of them, they're like one of the top tier VC funds and investors in the space. They bring a massive amount of expertise in the crypto sector and the gaming sector. And so like having them lead our round means we get like a huge amount of support for them. And to put things like into context, they also led the Yuga Labs deal. So for $450 million into the BAYC game. And so they're also led all around as well. And so like they, for a lot of companies, are sort of like the number one choice. And so we're super thrilled about having them come alongside us at Battlebound to build out the Avaverse and Project A, and support us. And we're going to be working very closely with them, and not just on the game side, but also with their crypto teams and the token side, to really deliver awesome long-term sustainable products across all of Battlebound. We're also really thrilled about the investor team that we have between the angel investors with Ryan Wyatt, CEO of Polygon Studios. The Avaverse is building on Polygon, so it just sets us up super well for support and building out more features and growing and scaling the ecosystem for the Avaverse. We also have Dapper Labs in the round, alongside Roham, who's the CEO of Dapper Labs. So he brings a super experienced perspective to actually growing and scaling a blockchain company and gaming company into a massive, large, successful product and company like he has with Dapper. So that's an awesome perspective to have. We also have Gabby Dyson in the round, who's like the CEO and founder of Yield Guild Games. And so, we're working with them very closely and talking about things on the tokenomics side. We're really excited about where that's going. We're going to have a lot of things to share in the future as we hammer out those details. We also have Christian Segerstrom in the round as well, and he's the CEO of Super Evil Megacorp. So, and they're a massive like Web2 mobile gaming studio. And so, like bringing founders, like our goal here was to bring people together with experience from Web2, Web3, because at the end of the day, like we're still making high quality video games. And so having that perspective and experience is super important. But we're also building in the blockchain space. And so bringing the Web3 perspective is key. And so we're marrying these two different skill sets in the round with our fundraise. And yeah, that's why I say we're doubling down at the intersection of high quality games, world-class gameplay, and play to earn. But yeah, so we're super pumped about that. And we're going to use it to scale up, build out the team, and expand the community, and kind of just go from there. So one of the things I wanted to get into was to talk. I hear a lot of conversations about the Avaverse and Battlebound, and how does that fit together? And I want to kind of just address like how we're thinking about this. And what I've said before and what I keep going back to is the Avaverse is Battlebound's metaverse. And so we're going to be structuring our products and our games around the Avaverse as the open platform and metaverse world of Battlebound and all the games that we make. And so with the Avaverse at the center, Project A and other games, Project B, Project C, eventually down the road, they're all going to tie back into the metaverse in the Avaverse world of Battlebound. And the Avaverse is going to be that open platform that we're going to partner with more collections and bring other assets into that world. And we're going to continue to build that out and build more fun and engaging games. And the idea is that we're going to partner with more and more reputable and blue chip projects in the space. And so we actually have, like, we're about to release a collab with the Doge Pound and bring in avatars from their IP into the world. And we have some other conversations in flight that we're really excited about, because we really believe that the open interoperable properties of NFT gaming are like a huge advantage and awesome opportunity to what we're building in the metaverse world. And so as we build more games, the assets are going to be interoperable and flow back into the Avaverse world. And so because we want to build curated gaming experiences that tell very specific stories, what that means, like Project A is going to be like a more, I use the word curated from start to finish. It's going to tell a different, unique story. It's going to be a different world. It's going to be a different game, or because if it wasn't, we would probably just build it within the world of the Avaverse. And so because of that, the way that we're thinking about the assets earned in all of the Battlebound ecosystem will have interoperability that flows back into the Avaverse world. But the Avaverse assets themselves, they won't necessarily directly flow back out into the other products that we make, or else like that would really limit our ability as developers to tell very curated stories with the games that we build. And so in order to reward our Avaverse community, and give them incentives to hold and be part of the other games that we're building very specific rewards that we're going to distribute to our Avaverse First Arrivals holders for all of the games that we make, and including Project A. And so I just wanted to explain that structure a little bit about how we're thinking about growing the ecosystem between multiple games. And yeah, I want to kind of see what you all think of that, and even like some of our speakers up here in Mayu might have some additional context to add. But yeah, that's how we're structuring this system around multiple games in our metaverse world. All right. Any additional thoughts to add there from the speakers up here? How does that?
I mean, you explained everything so well, but no, yeah, it's really cool. So obviously, Evaverse is gonna continue to grow. We're really putting a lot of effort into creating the metaverse space that people really enjoy, to just come, hang out, play some mini games, meet up with people, hang out with their guild mates, etc. So there's a lot of work that's going to go into that. And yeah, just to add, basically Project A, it's going to be a separate world, it's going to be a separate gaming experience. But there will definitely be sort of cross-pollination between that and flowing back into the Eververse, because that's the really cool thing about being in the crypto space and players having true ownership of their assets, is that we really want to add value by allowing you to, have something, own something in Project A, and then gain some kind of asset that you can take back into the Eververse and have some utility in there and play around. So there's a lot of stuff that we are planning. We mentioned this also in our previous Twitter space. We have our plans, we have our vision, but we definitely want to leave room for feedback from the community. We want to test things. We want to get your guys' opinion, and we're ready to pivot. If that's sort of what it takes to make the games that you guys want to play. So that's our big focus, and that's where we want to go.
Yeah, thanks, Mayo. I think you touched on something really cool, which is that interoperability or composability thing that people talk about a lot in the NFT space. And especially, I mean, there's people on both sides of the fence that are like the amount of structure needed to do something like that across all these different projects. Like if you have a sword in one game, you can't take the sword to the next game. Like that'd be so much work to coordinate publishers and developers. And I mean, they're right. It is a lot of work, but we're designing it as interoperability within the Battlebound ecosystem across all the games that we develop. And so we have a huge incentive to build games from the ground up to support this across all our assets. And so it gives us a big advantage as developers in the games that we make, and how we can offer the maximum amount of utility in our collections across our own portfolio of games. And so that's how we're thinking about it, and we think that that's a really big win approaching it like that in this space. So
yeah, I guess that's really interesting, because that's the main idea of Web3 gaming and NFT gaming. So basically we have games where we actually can earn items and other stuff and take that to another game. That's the main idea of Web3 gaming and NFT gaming. So yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's way easier to do when the developers are in control of both games, because then we can do it in a way that makes sense, that's scalable, that's exciting, and then we win on both sides. So we're thinking about that a lot with what we're building. But yeah, I wanted to also give a little roadmap update on the Avaverse, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Project A and that journey to whitelist, which I know there's been a lot of questions and speculation about. And so I will get to that in a sec. Um, but we have, for the roadmap, I mentioned that, we're working on the token. We're going to be working with the crypto teams and Andreessen and our partners to build out this ecosystem. And I've mentioned this before, but like, this is like a huge moment for the Avaverse and the company and launching our first token. And we're really like, we have brought the right people together to do this in a way where we have the right expertise. And Mayu and I have spent a ton of time on the tokenomics and the game design and how that affects guilds and land and what that means for the Avaverse at the current size of the community, but also what that means for the Avaverse when the game grows 10x or 50x the size and we have 50,000 players. And so we're approaching the token and the economy in a way that's scalable across the game as Battlebound grows and the ecosystem evolves and we get more players into the space. And so that's our focus, is like long-term sustainability and scalability of the economy and creating something that's super fun, really engaging syncs, so that you have a really hard time deciding if you're going to extract the token out of the ecosystem or you want to use it to continue to evolve your progress through the game. And so we're going to be sharing more details about that in the future as we start to nail them down. But we have something that I think is super exciting and very compelling in the play to earn token economy space. And so really excited about sharing those details with you a little bit further down the road. But yeah, we're working on turtle racing as a new mini game. Mayu's already done a really great job with the design there. I don't know if you want to like share kind of like a high level of how you're thinking about turtle racing, Mayu. That could be pretty cool.
Sure. Yeah. So basically, the way we're thinking about turtle racing, and if you're new, if you don't know, basically, the team did an airdrop with turtles for NFT holders. They're like really cool looking bipedal turtle avatars that are kind of your pets in the Avaverse. And basically, the idea that we have with this is that you will be able to race these turtles against each other, and it's going to be sort of an AFK kind of a mode. So it's not like you're actively racing with your turtle like you do when you're racing with the hoverboard. You basically sign up your turtle to race, and then you're gonna be pitched up against other people's turtles, and there's gonna be a track with some fun elements, and you're gonna be racing, and basically there's gonna be some randomization and some random elements, and based also on the stats of your turtle, that will determine the winner in the end. And we want this to be a really fun experience to watch, so we really want this to be like a focal point. Like if you're in the Avaverse hanging out and there's some races happening, you can go and watch and just cheer on your favorite turtle. And obviously you're going to be able to win tickets with this. And yeah, we have a lot of cool plans and fun things to differentiate it from some other racing games, these kind of games that are out there. But yeah, can't wait to share more. And once we have a bit more to share, we're obviously also going to get your guys' feedback and take it from there. But I think it's going to be really fun. You're going to be, the plan long term is that you're also going to be able to just sign up your turtles that you own, and they're going to be racing for you when you're not playing the game. And then you can, have a sort of passive ticket income in there. So yeah, we're really trying to add a lot of utility to the turtles.
Yeah, thanks, Mayu. Yeah, we're super excited about where that's going. So, in addition, we're also beginning to think about taking what we have in the game, which has a railgun element. So, there's like a sort of a really rough early stage of a shooter game, and we're going to be evolving that. And essentially, I should have maybe started out with this, but the Avaverse, for those that are newer to the community, is like this play to earn wonderland, we call it. It's almost like a state fair or like an amusement park. There's a bunch of different games. And so turtle racing is one, hoverboard racing is another, but it's not necessarily a racing game. So those are where we started. And so we're building out more mini games. And essentially, each mini game we want it to feel like a slice of a real game with like really fun, engaging gameplay. And then offer players like different genres of playing. And so the next one we're doing is like a third person shooter. And each of these shooter games or each of these mini games are kind of underpinned by an NFT collection. And so we have the turtles, we have the hoverboards, and so we're going to be doing a weapons collection. And you'll be able to use these to participate in the shooter game, just like you can the hoverboards in the racing game. And we're going to build some fun and engaging ways of like how we get weapons in the player's hands, and the different rarities of the weapons and how they affect the gameplay. And Mayu's going to be circulating pretty soon like a survey just to get to know like the kinds of shooter games the community likes, and what they're playing and the types of modes, so that we can get a pulse on the kind of gameplay that you're most excited about and use that to inform like how this shooter game comes to life. And so that's something that we'll be sharing in the next few days. That's in the works. We also have the slot machine called Best, which is essentially how players take the tickets, which right now, when you play, when you race, you earn tickets. You take those tickets and you can convert them into Avaverse badges. And the badges will be what is used to actually earn the token when the token launches. And so we do have a earning system in game right now, while the token is in development. So there's ways to earn tickets, which then through the badge system or the slot machine game, you'll be able to extract badges out of it, which you can hold on to for when the token drops. So we're working on that. We have the graphics overhaul, which is ongoing. And then eventually, later this year, we're going to be looking at a second arrivals collection, which can help grow the Avaverse ecosystem beyond just the 10,000 characters, because eventually we're going to have more. We already have more than 10,000 players, but as the game expands to 50,000 players, 100,000 players, like we need other points of entry. And so we're thinking about what the second arrivals look like, and how they interact with the earning ecosystem and how they interact with first arrivals. And we're building in some pretty exciting features that still value our first arrivals holders, but also make the game more scalable to more people coming in. And so, yeah, I think that kind of summarizes the Avaverse. And like at the end, we'll do an AMA, and you can ask questions about the Avaverse and Project A and Battlebound and everything so far. But I did want to kind of transition over to, unless you wanted to add anything that I missed.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I wanted to just say a bit more about Best, about the slot machine. So BEST stands for Badge Exchange Service Terminal. So basically, this will be where all those tickets that you're grinded up, you will be able to exchange them to badges, which then later will sort of transition to the token once we introduce that. But we really wanted to create a fun experience, not just for you as a player that's exchanging your tickets. Obviously, we could have just put like an interface and put in these tickets and then you get badges, but we wanted it to make it a fun experience. And we also wanted it to make it an event in the Eververse. So one of the coolest features, I think, of this Best machine is that if you watch, so if you're basically on the server and someone is converting their tickets to badges, spinning on the machine, if they get lucky, they might get like a server payout symbol on the machine. And basically what that means is that everyone that's live on the server is going to get a percentage of the badges that the person actually playing got. So we really want, we really believe in this community feel. We want it to be fun. We wanted to, people to share in their wealth and their luck. So it's gonna be really fun to just be there and watch people, cheer them on. Hopefully they'll get like some good results, and you possibly can get some badges just from being there and cheering them on. So I think it's gonna be a really cool feature, and we're excited to release it for you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a game within itself. Super fun and exciting, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's we've shared some videos before, and we're working on like the animations and sound and particles. And as we get a little more progress, we'll share some videos in Discord soon too. But yeah, so transitioning gears a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Project A. I know everyone is super hyped about it. We're hyped about it. So excited. Like, I think it's really going to be like just an incredible gaming experience that doesn't currently exist in the market. And so I want to give like a brief elevator pitch into like how we're thinking about it. There's still a lot up in the air that we're working on right now. The game is in pre-production stage, so it's mostly game design docs and concept art and thinking about the world and the visuals and the story we want to tell and what the player experience is going to be like. So it's still really early. And yeah, I think the way to think about it is, we're taking inspiration from games that we really love, and Teamfight Tactics has been a big one. As far as like being a super fun auto battler experience. But having been on the Teamfight Tactics team and helped build it, like there's things that are challenging about it, where it's like the barrier of entry is really high. The game experience is very segmented. It can be challenging to get into. It changes a lot, and so. But I think there's a lot of really exciting things about the actual combat that happens. And the types of characters that you can put together. And so we're really excited about that system. But we're taking pages from Genshin Impact and Pokemon and kind of mixing them into that combat system so that it's more of an open world gaming experience that has a lot of replayability and depth to it. As opposed to TFT, you kind of restart every match that you play. And so, yeah, we're super excited about the direction it's going, and we're going to have a lot to share. And as we develop it, and so this is where it ties into the journey to whitelist. It's like we want to reward the community members that stick with the community and grow, and are part of this journey from the very beginning. And so we've been teasing, every journey begins with a map, and we want to create a whitelist for Project A, but not just Project A, but for all of Battlebound. And so this Battlebound whitelist is going to be a journey that happens over a long period of development. And there's going to be NFT drops and collectible art assets, and it's going to feel like a scavenger hunt across the development of Battlebound that you all will be able to participate in as you collect these assets and work towards that whitelist allocation. And then when you put together the right combination of assets through this scavenger hunt process, you'll earn a whitelist allocation that you'll be able to use across Project A, Avaverse, or any of the products and NFT drops that Battlebound is developing. And the whitelist beginning starts with a map NFT. And so we're going to be announcing very, very soon the steps to take for our community and how to get your map NFT. And once you have the map, you'll be entered into this journey with us. And that will make you eligible for future participations and basically the start of your scavenger hunt. And which will ultimately end, if you stick with us and stick with the process and stay in the community, will end with the allocation. Like, we wanted to make a much more engaging experience for our community members and players that isn't just like, you won one of 500 whitelists, like, now go mint. Like, we want to really reward the people that that stay with us and engage and become active members in our community. And so that's the journey to the whitelist. That's how the map plays into this. And we're going to continue to build this out and tease it and create like some really cool combinations of content for the scavenger hunt journey that we're talking about. And so this is really just the beginning, and it's a fresh beginning for everyone in the community, for Project A followers, for the Avaverse community, that we can all participate in together. But as we look to reward our Avaverse NFT holders with our First Arrivals collection, there will be exclusive rewards and perks for holding First Arrivals NFTs throughout this process in Project A and along the whitelist journey. And so we're really balancing opening up this journey to everyone while also rewarding our holders in our original Avaverse community as the Battlebound ecosystem continues to grow and scale. And so that's the journey to whitelist. And yeah, I wanted to just provide some more context around that. And yeah, I think that's sort of at a high level, like how we're thinking about the products and the Battlebound ecosystem. And I see some people are requesting to talk. And so, I want to make sure we have a lot of time to do AMAs and answer questions. I know there's a lot of new members in here coming from the Battlebound side. And so, I think now like we can just kind of jump into asking questions and just continue the conversation. I'd love to hear what your all's thoughts are about Project A and the Avaverse and kind of everything we've been covering. So
Yeah, so I guess we can take some questions from the community. We're going to start with Bordel on Musk.
hey, Bord.
Just a second.
Are you there, Bord?
Oh, hey,
Okay,
I'm
Bord.
here. Sorry, there's a weird thing with Twitter when you invite somebody. There's a gap in sound. So you probably
I'm
were
here.
talking.
What
I
up?
didn't hear you. Thanks for the
You're
overview,
welcome.
though. Really exciting stuff. I was curious. It's kind of a broader question. Answer as much as you're comfortable with, but you're talking about a lot of the different types of game modes that you guys like and what you envision for the universe you're building. You mentioned two in particular, which is sort of the auto battler genre and then racing as well. I love both of those. How are you guys thinking about stitching different game genres together in the bigger universe? Because they're quite different, and I like that thinking, and it's not something you see a lot. But besides, I guess, just kind of like the economics of being able to use tokens in different games, are there any other areas where you feel like people who like different genres of games can kind of experience them all or have them intersect with each other within Avaverse? Hopefully that question makes sense.
So if I'm understanding correctly, like I think you're asking about how we're thinking about combining or like creating a world where multiple genres kind of live in the same game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then essentially that's what the Avaverse is, because we want to have these different modes. That's like, if you're out racing on your hoverboard, you're essentially playing a game that kind of feel like almost like Mario Kart. But if you're not for racing, but you love playing Valorant or Overwatch, it's like, well, then you can pick up an NFT weapon and like you can go play in our arena shooter mode. And essentially we want to offer like best in class gaming experience across these different genres of modes, but they're all tied to what you will do with your first arrival or second arrival avatar. And so they're just different ways of experiencing the world that's there. And it's almost like I could coming back to like a state fair where you can go on a bunch of different rides, and you can ride the same ride over and over again if that's your favorite ride. And we want each of these to be very social experiences that you can play with your friends and earn, the equivalent number of tickets and tokens in each of these different ecosystems. But then there'll be more ways to kind of spend these tokens in game and kind of cater to one game mode or another. So if like you love racing, well, now you can like soup up your hoverboard and min max the perfect stats and spend the tokens that you've earned in game in that one mode to further your ability to play in that mode. But then the same goes for the weapons, or whether we do vehicles, or any other game mode that we have. And then eventually we want to start building a composable system where it's like, you're like, I want to race with my weapon and turtle, and you can kind of mix and match different modes, and build out the play style that works for you. And then we enter in kind of this Fall Guys territory. But we're starting with, just building solid and fun mechanics across all of the modes that we build. And so like it started with racing, and then so that'll move to turtle racing, and then the shooter mode, and we're just going to continue to expand the worlds from there. And yeah, I'll let Mayu, if you want to give any additional context to that, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe just a minor spoiler for the survey, but one of the questions there is going to be if people would like us to implement the hoverboards in the arena shooter mode, because personally I think it will be badass to be riding around the map on my hoverboard shooting people, but we want to make sure that what we're excited about is also what you guys are excited about. But we definitely want to, as Adam said, eventually give the community the tools to sort of mix and match the elements that we've created to create their own unique game modes that they can invite people in to play, potentially earn some passive income if people are really playing your game mode, etc. But yeah, we're definitely very much interested in those kind of mechanics.
Yeah, was that kind of what you were thinking, Board?
Yeah, it definitely was. It's helpful. I was trying to think through games that I've played in the past where some of this feeling comes to mind, and it's not an exact analogy, but for anybody who's played like the Final Fantasy series, or really a lot of other JRPGs, you'll have racing games within the overall story. You'll have card games. You'll have all these other sort of mini games that you participate in, and that's very much like a one-player solitary experience. But I can see how that type of model works really well in a multiplayer experience as well. And you guys mentioned a few of them, but yeah, great answer. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, it's funny that you mentioned Final Fantasy, because some of the inspiration that we've pulled for the Avaverse was actually from this place in Final Fantasy VII called the Golden Saucer, where you would go, and it was like this fun little pit stop in your journey where there were mini games everywhere, and you could go snowboarding, and you could play battle in the Coliseum, and you could skateboard, and it's a very similar structure to what we're building. And so yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, so I actually have a quick question. Do we have any rough estimates for when the weapons collection and the turtle racing will come out?
Great question. I'd say it's a little too soon for rough estimates. Tim, who we hired today, who was working on Overwatch, was concepting weapons and skins on Overwatch, and so he's a super talented concept artist that's going to be helping us build out the weapons collection. But it's going to be probably a month to month and a half before we're ready to even kind of reveal what that design looks like and be able to give rough timelines. Turtle racing, we are building more actively, and we should have some updates on that within a month, I would say, about how it's coming along and what it looks like.
Great, sounds great. Yeah. So I guess we can take another question. Pluto, if you're here.
Yeah, thank you. The question's for DAMOS. Obviously, the tokenomics is going to be very intricate. There's a lot more to it than obviously what we thought, especially with all the information that you provided today. And I think a lot of people are still anticipating and very excited to know, do you have a exact launch date for the token or an approximate time frame? I saw various places where it says Q2, some places it says later this year. If you have a more accurate timeline, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can show you share with you a little bit of update where we're at. We're working really closely with our legal team right now to actually set up the structure required to mint and hold the tokens. And to do this legally, like there's a lot of steps that are required in order for us to protect ourselves as a studio and a game company in the US. And this structure takes about 6 weeks to set up. And so we're still working through that process. And then after that structure is set up, we'll have the tools that we need to take the token to market. So then it's about working very closely with our partners to take it to the next level. So I would say that we're still probably 6 to 8 weeks from being able to give a clear timeline on the actual release of the token.
Okay, thanks. So it could be pushed back further from Q2 then, possibly.
I mean, it's possible, but we're working really hard it's like with all of our deadlines and roadmaps and milestones that we set, we work really hard to ensure that we can meet them. And so we're still hoping that we can actually deliver in that Q2 promise.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks for all your work.
Yeah, of course.
All right. DKDC, are you here?
Oh, yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a few questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I just want to start off. In the last AMA, I heard you guys say owning a first arrival would be better than a whitelist for Project A. So could you guys elaborate a little bit on like what you meant by that?
Yeah, what I meant by that was that we're building in exclusive rewards that you will only get by holding a first arrival, that even with a whitelist for Battlebound, you won't be entitled to the same rewards that first arrivals holders will get throughout this journey of development. So they're
okay.
Yeah.
So does owning a first arrival, like, I'm not sure, as of right now, does owning a first arrival guarantee a whitelist for Project A?
That's a great question. What we haven't finalized the structure for that process yet, and so
Okay.
I would say what I meant by it's better than that is that you're going to be giving exclusive perks, but all of first arrival holders are invited to participate in the whitelist journey that everyone else is invited to participate in. And so getting on the whitelist just means being an active part of our community. And if you are an active part of the community from the very start, which is the journey is going to be starting soon, then you will be able to get you on the whitelist. But there will be exclusive rewards in Project A for first arrivals holders that we're still working through the details on.
Okay, for sure. And so one more question I had was, Project A, will that be a completely different game? I mean, Eververse is one, right? Will that be in addition to Eververse, or will it be like a separate download on Steam?
It's a completely different game. And so,
okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So I guess I have a little follow-up on that.
Okay.
Why exactly is there like another game in development when Eververse is so early in its development? I mean, like, it's just, yeah, that's it.
And that's a good question. These are games that we're both really excited and passionate about building. And they serve two different niches, and we're going to be reusing a lot of technology to build them together. And so at the end of the day, they're multiplayer games that are built on NFT technology and the Unity game engine. And so we're serving two different players with the experiences that we want to build. And Project A is still very, very early. It's like all our resources, or the majority of our resources, are going to remain on the Avaverse to build that out into the game that's on the roadmap that we're talking about. But we're going to be ramping up over time on the Project A to deliver on our next game, the vision is that Battlebound is a multi-game studio and is able to create interoperable gaming experiences in the blockchain gaming space. And so we're really passionate about delivering on that and setting Battlebound up as a premier player and games company.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, to be honest. Because, yeah, I mean, Battlebound, that's the whole point of it, right? You guys could have just stuck with being Eververse. But yeah, respect. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Appreciate the questions.
Yeah, great questions. So Wall Street Meta, you're next. Wall Street Meta. Are you here?
I know he's said his internet isn't always reliable, so.
He also said he's on his PC, so that doesn't work with Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let me see. We have some requests. The thing is it takes a lot until I can bring a speaker on the stage. It says connecting.
All right.
Yeah, until then, I have another question.
Okay.
Have you thought about, I don't know, launching a Battlebound game launcher? I mean, we are on Steam right now, but yeah, it may change in the future.
That's a really good question. The answer is yes. Long term, and I've gotten a lot of questions about Steam, especially with the NFT ban and their stance against blockchain games. And the answer is Steam is not our long-term solution for Battlebound, and we are making plans right now to actually build out a more permanent like Battlebound launcher where Project A and the Avaverse can be patched and downloaded and built out from the same place, and so to have all our games under one roof.
Oh, great. Yeah. Oh, Wall Street Meta, are you still here?
I'm here. Sorry about that.
There you go. Yeah.
It wasn't working before. So I'm curious about the integration of the second arrivals affecting the first arrivals collection. What do you think is the solution to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. The solution, as far as keeping the first arrival holders excited about owning first arrivals while introducing new characters into the ecosystem, is that? I'm guessing that's what you're asking. The way that we're thinking about it is that 10,000 characters is great, but as the game grows and like we start to expand with guilds and bringing more players in and larger groups of players, 10,000 characters can't support the ecosystem at scale, and it's great at the scale that we're at now. But as new players join, we want to have an entry point that's accessible for them, and we want to give them a path to earning. But we also want to respect our original first arrivals holders and have reasons and incentives to hold on to your first arrivals character that create unique value for them and second arrivals. And so it really comes down to their role in the earning economy and how they're able to earn the token. And like we're building in some distinct earning paths for first and second arrivals that vary. And so there's going to be a great incentive that is going to, because first arrivals are going to have a different earning path, there's going to be an incentive to hold those that's going to value them above second arrivals. But second arrivals will be able to introduce more characters into the ecosystem and create a lower entry point for new players that come into the game and are able to earn. And we're working on a system that will reward all our first arrivals holders with their own second arrival when those systems do launch. And so there's a lot of game design and mechanics that we're still working through. But I really believe that there's a opportunity to scale the game and create more playable characters for the world and the ecosystem while still valuing our original set of Genesis characters.
Yeah, that's awesome. Being able to scale and increasing the amount of characters there are for players is good. This is about Project A now.
Yeah.
Do you see Project A becoming a VR metaverse style, almost Pokemon-like game where you get to adventure and collect creatures?
I see it becoming that minus the VR element. We don't have any plans to build VR into Project A. I think, yeah, it's like, well, I mean, we've talked about it in the Avaverse at some point that maybe it makes sense, but like at the end of the day, we're just building games for PC and mobile crossplay is like our niche, and we want games to be playable on both, which doesn't necessarily easily translate into VR.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
All
Good
right.
question.
So
Hey,
we
I've got another question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go on.
Oh fuck! I forgot. Shit.
No,
Yeah.
No worries.
I'll come back when I remember.
All good.
All right. Okay, so we also have some questions from Discord. Abel is asking if the EVA token will be earned across all Battlebound games.
The AVA token will be used within the Avaverse and the Avaverse ecosystem. Other games will have like another type of currency or token so that these economies can be balanceable and tuned for the sustainable growth of each respective game. Like if there was a token system across multiple games, which we did consider, it adds a huge level of complexity, which I think comes at the detriment of the game health.
All right. So we had some mentions back in the day about the governance token as well. Do you have any news about that?
The Avaverse governance token?
Yes.
We were working on the tokenomics still. This what kind of falls into the same bucket of the update previously for the Avaverse tokens.
Okay, Keith, you can ask your questions.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so my main question is, like Decentraland and Sandbox, I mean, they're metaverses as well, and they have more than just gameplay to them. So is there any, thought been put into like allowing us to have like buildings that we can build like in the hub or other areas where it's not just us playing games, but it actually becomes a metaverse with, economies where people can sell products or show art, stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're definitely as we expand, we're going to be offering land and the ability to not just create your own space and develop that land, but the ability to create your own arenas and levels for the different game modes, and that's where we're going. One thing that we do that I think that's a little bit differently at Battlebound is we really like to pair our token offerings or NFT offerings with utility up front. And what that means is like we wouldn't do a land sale where we're like a year out from developing the actual product that land is going to use. And so the reason like we're pushing these sales out later is that when we launch the land sale, we want players to be able to use that land right away. And so a lot of these systems are going to be coming online towards the end of the year. And so that's when we'll introduce those type of mechanics and NFT sales into the world of the Avaverse.
Okay, so I mean, just to, I guess, ask that question again, are we going to be able to do stuff on the land other than just create like racetracks? I mean, will you be able to build other things on the land?
you will be able to build other things on the land, and like you'll be able to place buildings on there. You'll be able to place characters on there, and a lot of this is still up in the air. But like we're building out these systems now. Like as you develop your land, that's going to affect like your ability to earn in all the other games that all the other mini games that you play. Like land is going to be really meaningful within the world of the Avaverse. For either the location or like the effect it has on the types of games you play.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
I did remember my question, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure, go on.
Okay, so I just wanted to say, like, what you guys have is great. Like, you guys have a game out on Steam. I don't see many other NFT projects with that. But I guess my question is, what is up with the marketing? Because I have not heard much. Like, I have heard quite a bit about Battlebound recently, but I mean, you guys have so much. Why is there not any marketing regarding, Eververse or Battlebound?
Yeah, like marketing wasn't our core focus up until pretty recently. It's like, we were focused on building out the product and organically building the community and building a product we're proud of that can speak for itself. We also were an undoxed team. And so, like, we've been waiting to actually formalize the company and our founding team and establish our game studio and then lean into the marketing where we can point to exactly who we are and exactly where we're going and what we're doing. And so until we got to that point, it didn't make a lot of sense to leverage marketing as much because like we hadn't set up all that structure that are key about building your brand and business. And so now that we're there, you can expect to see a lot more of that as the year progresses and we expand our products and leverage our partners for exposure and build out our marketing plan as Battlebound the company.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Do we have a date or a schedule where we're going to launch the mobile game play?
We don't have a confirmed date yet. We're working on the mobile port for the Avaverse now, and we just hired a new gameplay programmer that's helping build out the mobile control scheme for the Avaverse. And so as we get a little more progress, we'll probably have something to share within the next month on the mobile version of the Avaverse.
And also, do we have a governance token or we only have one token and that is EVA?
There are actually no tokens at the moment. We're going to be launching an Avaverse token, including a governance token, later this year.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Crypto Gamer, can you hear us?
Hey, hello?
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, how's it going? I just had a quick question for you guys. So kind of piggyback off what was just asked on the marketing side. I know that hasn't been a core focus and it makes sense. You guys have built a great product. But just moving forward, or I guess in hindsight, I should say, you guys had talked about this partnership news for about 7 months and saying you were going to coordinate PR for it and everything. And, the day finally comes and a week leading up to it, you guys introduce an entirely new project, Project A, that seems to be in its infant stages of development. And for me, first arrival holder, someone who's been in the community for a long time, I'm really kind of just wondering why that is being highlighted in your guys' drop so aggressively, and why you guys didn't choose to push, Avaverse, a fully playable game that's got an awesome product as is, just to showcase that along with the great news. I'm just kind of wondering, I just feel as of right now, I'm a little bit confused with the direction of the project because it seems like you guys are taking on a lot more. So I'm just trying to, identify more with what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, and thanks for sharing how you feel about that, and I appreciate that. Like, if you go back to our blog posts, it's like we had a much larger portion dedicated to the Avaverse in our written content and talking about our fundraise. Project A was actually a really small part of that. Avaverse is more front and center on the website. We have a lot more content on the Battlebound website about Avaverse than we do Project A. Regarding like the marketing and the PR, it's like we have very limited control over like how people write about it. And I think Project A, we use the Battlebound Twitter account to generate a lot of hype for Project A because it's something new and fresh that people can be a part of from the start. And I think in that sense, it's very successful. And we're going to continue to build out and scale Project A. And we want people to be part of that journey. And as that's going to boost Battlebound. And as Battlebound grows, like that's good for all of Battlebound games, including the Avaverse. And so it's like we really see this as like one ecosystem and one company that wins all at the same time, versus two different projects that are unrelated or at odds or competing against each other.
Okay, I appreciate you answering that.
Yeah, sorry, just to add, as Adam mentioned, we're definitely, Battlebound is going to grow to be a multi-project studio, so there will be dedicated teams, and it's just to reassure you, it's not taking away from Eververse. Basically, that's an awesome experience where we have so much more to add to it, and it's really going to be a central focal point for Battlebound. But yeah, I mean, we want to take on different projects for different people, keep the interconnectability between them. So yeah, I think that's the only thing that I wanted to add to that. But great question.
Okay, cool. And if you guys don't mind, I had one other quick question. Specific to Avaverse kind of turtle racing, and I think this can be applied to anything. And this will also help drive a lot of the social aspect that's tied into the game and make it more exciting. What's your guys' plans for the betting, the third person betting aspect? I feel like create a lot more excitement. I feel like you can implement that to normal hoverboard racing, just being able to stake tokens against each other per race or something. I'm just kind of curious what you guys' thoughts on that, because I feel like that'd be pretty exciting.
I can maybe say a bit about that. We have definitely thought about that, and it could be cool. In my experience, and I've had to deal with before in previous projects, the difficulty with the whole betting aspect is there's different regulations in different territories. Different countries have different rules for what consists gambling, etc. And it's additionally complicated because even if we say you can bet tickets, theoretically, you can convert tickets to a token, you can cash out on that. So it's not a matter of whether or not we want to do it. I think it's definitely a very interesting concept, and it could be really fun, but we need to see what sort of the legal implications are in terms of having gambling mechanics and betting within our games.
Yeah, I get all that. I'm quite the sports gambler myself. Thank you for answering.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, so Wall Street Meta was very active yesterday on our Discord in a voice chat, and he got to speak with our community, and he has some questions from the community. Wall Street Meta, are you here?
Yeah. So the first question would be if you have any ideas how the prestige and rarity type about Celestial Zenith will factor into turtle races, and if you have any alpha on the turtle races.
That's a good question. I think the design has been like Mayu's done some pretty great work about how we make this a fun and social experience and how turtles can progress through that. I think we're still working out some of the details there. I'm not sure if we're ready to communicate exactly how that system is, but I'll hand it over to you, Mayu.
Yeah. So just regarding the process, basically, we put together the full design of where we want this to go, and then I also put together an MVP version, which is the minimum viable product. So it's basically a trimmed down version of the design where we can, prototype it faster. We can make sure that it's fun. We can make sure that things are working how we want them to. So we're gonna be working on that, and once we're at a spot where we think it's fun, we definitely will look into how to get the community, at least a portion of the community, to test it, so we can get some feedback. But I can't tell you right now exactly when that's going to happen. But it's definitely at an advanced stage from the design point of view, and we just need to keep working on it. But yeah, it's in a good place, and you'll be hearing more about it in the weeks and months to come.
Awesome, thank you. And do you expect the armor type, skin type, that kind of thing to also be a factor along with those Zenith Celestial classes?
Yeah.
That question could go with EVA characters as well, I guess.
Yeah, so for the turtles, there's obviously different parameters and different stats that are attached to the turtles, and right now we're thinking of potentially adding a few more, and those will kind of impact your turtles' chances at winning a race. And yeah, I don't know how much we want to share just yet, but there's definitely going to be some progression involved with your turtles. While, when you use them for races, there's going to be some progression systems that makes your turtle better at racing over time. And yeah, we definitely want there to be sort of individual characteristics that impact your chances at winning a race.
Yeah, thanks for the context there, Mayu, and great questions, Molly. We're running pretty over time, so maybe we can do like one more question.
Yeah, so we have Alien on the stage. I guess he has some questions. Alien, are you here?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys. Just a quick question about like sort of the end game for EVA versus hover racing. Right now you kind of get a board and you race and you get tickets, and then the tickets can turn into badges, and the badges will do something. But I'm just curious, like, about the end game of the hover racing. Like, are you going to introduce, something like Mario Kart where you can like shoot people, or is there going to be a tournament mode? Is there, something along those lines? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's a great question. We're definitely going to be expanding it, building out new racetracks. As we build out more games and more competitive structure, we're going to expand the leaderboards, and build out more of a element that allows like one-off tournaments and competition to increase engagement and like give players more reasons to keep working for that personal best time. And it's going to evolve into a more competitive environment as like the Avaverse kind of levels up generally from a gameplay perspective.
Awesome. And then one other question. I mean, do you guys have a plan on I know the boards can level up and you can get more stats and stuff, but have you guys, is there any way, I'm not really sure, I mean, I'm not a developer or anything, I just play the games, but is there a way to, upgrade, I know they're NFTs, right? They're non-fungible, right? But is there a way to kind of upgrade the skin element of the board or the character or something like that? I'm curious about that, because that seems like more of a kind of scalable way to do that, because like then you can upgrade your skin, it looks cooler, and it doesn't really affect the gameplay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And it's possible. That's like we haven't built. There's something permanent about like when you buy something as an NFT that the visuals you're buying or like that specific skin has some permanent type properties, which I think come with expectations around how it's going to look. It's possible that we can introduce some visual update elements to it, but it would have to be built around the actual core mechanics of the game and support the ecosystem and do it in a way that makes sense. And so I think if we were to do that in one of our game modes, it would be a unique element of that mode that would kind of be communicated up front versus us retroactively doing something that would change the look of people's NFTs that they've already purchased.
Sweet. Thanks for the answer. All right, I know you guys are over time, so I'm going to step down here, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks everyone for spending time with us for well over an hour now. It's like the very first Battlebound Twitter space. I love that you're here. Do feel free. We have an AMA channel in our Discord, so like continue to ask us questions. We're going to host more of these, and we're going to be sharing a lot more updates about all of our games in the Battlebound ecosystem as we continue to scale. And really, this is sort of just the beginning. So yeah, it's been awesome to chat with you all. And look out for your whitelist map journey to be starting very shortly. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys. See you on Discord.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
All right. So that was pretty interesting, dude. I was actually taking notes. Over here taking notes. So I'll probably make another video. This video is an hour and 15 minutes, so make another video talking about it. I got some notes here. Pretty good stuff. That's it, yeah. Later.